Hello, Internet. We're back. If you just came from our Loki review, you know we were experiencing technical difficulties. And if you didn't, then just know we just experienced a bunch of technical difficulties because Discord sucks bitch ass. That's what.
Yep. Now they're gonna take us down again for that
Yeah, who
previous
cares?
insult.
I give no fudges, bruh.
But what about our infinite amount of viewers that want to live their lives based off every word that ekes out of our wretched mortal mouths?
Look, I'm not one to be self deprecating. Okay, I am. But let me tell you, we got no viewers. We got no
It's
one who
almost
gives
like
no
you
fucks.
it's almost like you made a song that said I used to have friends.
I did used to have friends. I made a whole album called I Used to Have
Yeah,
Friends.
friends, exactly, bro. I'm sorry. I thought that was the name of the song, a song, not the name of the
It
album.
is. It's the name of both. A
Okay.
song and the album.
When's your next album drop coming, by the way?
So I actually just finished recording, well, like finalizing a set list of songs.
Hmm.
So I got it all ready. Um there's a bit of a long story here, so I'll keep it short. But essentially, uh sometimes like the first album I did, I used to have friends. Essentially, it exists because I used to write music with people, and then I don't really write music with people anymore, and so I would write songs and I'd wait for my friends to give me input, or if they wanted to collaborate and stuff, and like they'd always say yeah, let's do it, let's, I'm down, and then it would just never happen. And if I felt like if I ever wanted to just do music, I just have to do it myself
Yeah.
because it feels like no one else is really interested. And so that's why I did that. Like the idea is like, I used to do this with friends, but now I don't really have friends to do it with. So this is just me. Here you go.
Yeah.
And so um I recently, like, I was like, I tried to, ask again. Like, I was like, hey, like, we should hang out. Like, do you want to, like, collaborate or whatever? And, like, as soon as I mention it, I just get no response. And so, like, dude, I was, like, feeling really shit for a little bit. I was just like, man, like, I just, like, it's not like, it's not like that, like, they don't want to do it, that, like, hurts. It's just, like, they don't even seem to care.
Yeah.
Right. And, like, that's, like, where it kind of hurts more is, like, they don't even care to respond or to tell me, like, hey, I don't want to work
Yeah,
with
at
you.
least I tell you like no. Like, I'll always, me, I'm like a huge texter. I always respond right away whenever someone texts me, and usually actually freaks them out. But
Yeah.
that's just kind of who I am.
But
Um,
like then out of nowhere, I had someone who is actually supposed to be on our Ahsoka podcast, the last one we
mm,
did. He was supposed to come on, but he had some family stuff come up. But he had hit me
mm,
up, and he was like, "Hey, like, are you still looking for like a vocalist or someone like to do some vocals for you?" And I was like, yeah, like, and like he was like offering to do it, and like so that made me feel like better, I guess. But like I don't know. So all of that is to
I think.
say,
Oh, go ahead, please. Now finish your thought.
no, that's all just to say that yes, I have an album ready and done as long as I don't get any vocals recorded. But if I get him through or whatever to do some vocals, then it'll be a little longer because I have to get all that recorded and then mix it and master it and all that stuff, and that takes time. So,
Yep.
but yeah, that's where I am. But it is done. I have
But I
one
was
song where
gonna
I
say,
rap again.
yeah. I'll skip that one. Let me know that track name. I'll skip that. Yeah. But I was gonna say too, there's a lot of people, in our age range, like from 20, 29, where they go and they get real jobs and they give up music or doing those things, and
Yeah, it's
it's
not the
like,
case though. Like these are people
no,
that I still do music just with other people.
no. Well then, maybe they just are really into their projects they're doing. Then I don't know. But you're right. They should still respond and say like, hey man, sorry, like I'm really focused on this one project I'm working on right now,
It's
but
a
I hope
bunch
you
of
it
them
work.
though.
Yeah.
Like like one of my friends, like,
They
he's
just
been
didn't
in a
respond at all.
bunch of different projects like over the
Yeah.
years, and like he's helped me here or there, like given input like a little bit, and like he like one of my songs, he like rearranged the whole thing and like made it really good.
Hmm.
And this was like years ago, like, and I was like really appreciative, and I wanted to work more with him. But like, yeah, like literally, like I I will text him and I'll get a response in like a month.
Hmm.
And then like every time he's like, "Oh, I'm not very good at texting back. Like, I should be better at it, whatever." But like,
Yeah.
it's just like that's just kind of how it is. Um, so I don't know. And then like, yeah, it's just kind of how I don't know. It's just the way it is, and like I've accepted it and stuff. But I don't know. Sometimes it's just like it hurts. And you feel alone and shit, and you're just like, fuck.
And no, I definitely felt for sure. Like, there's definitely I've had a couple of friends like lately from high school and stuff that I just don't talk to anymore because of things, because they don't talk to me because they come out of the blue just to basically to text me something about how great their life is going and want me to jerk them off. And
Yeah,
like, and sometimes like a lot of them like, they're just too on the internet and they say like a bunch of wild racist internet shit, and I don't want to put up with that. I don't have patience for that stuff anymore. I just don't.
yeah,
I shouldn't have had patience for it when I was a kid, but I was in high school and these were like the only people I knew, and didn't wander the roads of the internet like I do now, where I can just hop in with a group of strangers and play video games with them until like 3 a.m. and then go find a new group of strangers tomorrow. Like that's just kind of how I play video games, the multiplayer games these days.
yeah. Well, like when I would play video games, like the only times I've ever really like played video games in my life was like when I was a kid. I play like a lot.
Hmm.
Or like the only like when I played online with friends, like that would get me to play games. It's just
Yeah,
playing online with friends, but like now I don't have anyone to play with, so I don't play.
yeah.
So and like I get scared if I'm like I don't know, like my anxiety is really bad, and I'm sure you're the same.
Mm.
But it's like when I get in like a lobby with people and they start talking on the mic, like I get scared. I don't want to talk. I don't know
No,
what to do.
I've gotten over
Like
that anxiety. I've gotten over a lot of online interaction anxiety, I think is the thing. Like for me, the biggest part for the longest time was doing PvP content, player versus player. Like
yeah,
I would actually have panic attacks when I try and play player versus player, like the first person shooters or the third person shooters, because they're just so intense. Now like to me, it's like just breathing. But no, there is a lot of anxiety. Like, it's a new thing, and interacting with strangers is not an easy like interpersonal skill to learn. And like, especially that, you just got to realize you're all gamers at the end of the day, and there's kind of like universal humor you can use with gamers. And like, I just like to get people laughing, and then I can start interacting, and then they kind of open up, because they're
yeah,
nervous too. That's the thing. It's like they're not playing with their immediate group of friends. Like most gamers, usually I notice operates in groups like 4 to 6. So unless you're like me, there go. Like an internet hermit. Got like my couple of friends, and that's about it.
yeah. Also, if people are watching this, I'm not doing anything weird. My dog is here.
Got
I'm
little
just petting him.
little chasey boy.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. I don't know. Like, I enjoy video games, but it's like if I don't know, I just get too nervous, and it's really funny because like the other day, one
It
of
can
my
be stressful. Playing games can be really stressful, especially if you're playing online. Like, you feel like, oh, I don't want to let my team down and stuff like that.
yeah, like the other day, one of my coworkers, like who I kind of work with directly, like they're like, "Oh, like you're really good with people," and I was like, "What the fuck?" No, I'm not. Like, because, like we deal with people all the time at work, and it's like, but I don't know, it's work, so it's like I have to, I have to talk to vendors and other people and do all this shit, like it's not like,
Yeah.
you know, so
It's like real estate. I'm getting better with that too. Like, I'm a pretty shy person, but at the
yeah.
end of the day, real estate really isn't a sales. I don't.
Well,
Real estate's its own thing. It's not a
it's
sales job, a law job, or anything like that. But also at the end of the day, you need to be able to like explain very precisely, like what people are going to go through, and
yeah.
all those kinds of things.
It's
Like,
as much
not.
different when you're talking about things like like
Yeah.
this. Like when we're here, we're talking about nerd stuff. Like we know what we're talking about. Like there's no like awkwardness or whatever. But like it's like small. Like the other day, I was leaving work and someone's like, "Oh, bye," and they said my name, and then like we had
Mm.
like a temp person at the desk. They're like, "Oh, that's my name too." And I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck to say to that. I was like, oh, like I was
Yeah.
so
Okay.
awkward for like 10 seconds. I said nothing. I just looked at him and I was like,
Nah.
oh,
Now, but
that's awesome.
but now you begin to see, like, there are some people that are so awkward, that are awkward, but also they are so socially unaware that and their ego pushes through the awkwardness, and then they make us awkward by like their proximity and the things
Bro,
that they say.
yeah.
And that's like a lot of people.
It's, dude, I don't know if you experience this, but it's like, like you use terminology like that we use like as like younger people and
Mm.
stuff. And like other people are just like, they just stare at you and they're like, what? And you're just like, oh, fuck. Why did I say
Yeah. No, definitely for sure. Like, when you use the lingo, people like, and cursing too, I think that's like a big gap between us and I gotta always got sometimes I curse too much and I gotta remember not to curse as much because our generation curses a lot.
Yeah. Well, like I don't really cuss at work unless like we're in like a private room
Hmm.
and whatever, and like everybody's upset about the same thing because like
Yeah.
that happens. Like when we get like major projects we're working on, and we're just like, dude, what the fuck is going on? These people don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, holy
Yeah.
fuck, man. And I'm just
Yeah.
like,
For real
I don't really
estate,
do
like,
that though.
I think the primary thing in real estate why a lot of people get confused that it's a sales job is because a lot of people are over professionalized in real estate where like you do need to be a working professional, obviously, but
Yeah, but I think we
there's some
both
people
work
that
in fields where people tend to drink too much and also
yeah.
tend to not parse their words very much.
Yeah.
So,
And
like,
two or two and we're in my field, specifically real estate, we're people that just sell way too much and then like, they convince people to get into transactions they shouldn't be in that are actually financially unhealthy for them, which is something that does happen quite a bit in real estate.
yeah, of course it does. Because your job is to sell things, not to give a shit about, the people that
No,
you're
it is
selling
it
to.
is to give a shit because like I always thought the job would be to stop lawsuits, but the problem is that other people think their job is to sell things. Like, I don't consider my job to sell things. I consider my job to help people navigate the most complex transactions that they'll ever go through. Like, and when you walk into your giant wooden box, it has a layer of plumbing, a layer of electricity, a layer of internet cabling, a layer of phone cabling, all the paint, all the everything, hot water heater, like, there's a lot of stuff in
Asbestos.
there. Yeah, asbestos, like, all the houses were built in like almost 100, there's a 100-year range of houses built,
Hey, this is a
you know?
beautiful home. It's only $450,000. It may give you cancer and you might die, but it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah, and it's just, they refuse to knock things down, which is like a shadow issue in this country that nobody ever talks about, how we don't like doing remediation in this country because we've never had a war, which is basically just like free demolition everywhere all the time. It just happened in World War II, which is why all their infrastructure is so nice in Europe, because they
Yeah.
blew themselves up.
Half
So
this building caught fire, but it gives it a nice noir kind of aesthetic.
yeah,
Jesus.
I don't know. There's a lot of issues like everywhere for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about news now, guys, if we're boring
Yeah.
you. Here we go. Back to the news. Back to the um. Ink. Bonk. All right. So this is Marvel news, even though it says Star Wars at the beginning. uh. Ahmad Best, if you guys don't know who that is, he played Jar Jar Binks in Star Wars. He apparently he wants to play Blue Marvel in the MCU.
Mm.
Um, I'm gonna skip that because I just said that. The actor shared some fan art of himself as Blue Marvel on his personal Instagram account with the caption, "I think I would make a dope hashtag Blue Marvel, as my mother would say, hashtag manifesting lol." Uh,
Yeah, that's how that is how you do it. You manifest those things. Like I'm sure he's done all the things, and which is when you're when you're an actor, you tell your agent, hey, I really, really, really want to be in this role. Do everything and anything. Give them
yeah,
good contract deals. Let me say I'll work how many hours, however hours they want me. Like, you can do a contract when it's essentially no hours, and then you just show up whenever they freaking call you.
exactly. But yeah, he also tagged the Instagram accounts for Marvel, Marvel Studios, and Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, uh, which doesn't exist, I guess. The illustration of Best as Blue Marvel was created by an artist known as Diesel Funk.
Mm.
Um, so, for people who don't know, Blue Marvel was created by writer Kevin Graveau and artist Matt Broom. Adam Brashear, also known as Blue Marvel, first appeared in Adam Legend of the Blue Marvel #1, published by Marvel Comics in 2008. The character, who is sometimes favorably compared to Superman, gained his superpowers after an antimatter experiment went horribly wrong. In addition to flight, superhuman strength, and semi-invulnerability, Blue Marvel's powers include antimatter manipulation, absorption, and projection. Blue Marvel has rarely been adapted into non-comic media, appearing briefly in an episode of the animated series Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and as a playable character in Lego Marvel video games. There you go.
Ooh, the big reveal. That's how you know they're really coming.
Yeah,
They got that Lego Marvel cameo, bro.
exactly. This is like in like I remember the Star Wars fighting game.
Mm.
like in like the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I remember snippets of that flew in
Yeah,
my
but
brain
but
for a
it
second.
yeah, but it had Mara Jade in it, right?
Didn't it
And
have like
Mara,
a Tusken Raider too?
yep, you could play as a Tusken Raider, as a Gamorrean guard. You could play as Luke with his blue lightsaber, with his green lightsaber. Han Solo. I don't think you could play as Princess Leia in her Bosch costume.
Hmm.
But I don't know if she was playable without the Bosch costume. I don't remember that. But yeah, there are a lot of different characters. Boba Fett, obviously, a stormtrooper. I think you could unlock like Darth Vader, and I think that you could fight as the Emperor. I don't remember, but you could fight as Mara Jade, right? And at that
Hmm.
point, Mara Jade had only been in books, most notably Heir to the Empire. Um, and so it's just interesting, like like she was in those books, and then she got into the game, and separate from Marvel, right? Where Marvel, like all their things kind of interconnect, like despite like everything in the kind of history of like the idea that George Lucas okayed every book and like he wanted them all part of his universe, like none of that's really true. And
Yeah.
he said
No, they
recently
were
like
just
he didn't even
they
read
were
any of the books, and like they're
yeah,
their
they
own
were
thing.
carpet bombing stuff, dude. Like he even said that like stuff that's huge part of Star Wars lore now, like that meme I sent you where the costume designer like thinking something like cool, like holding up a part of Star Wars lore. There's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's cool. I really, again, George Lucas is really seems like a really solid dude. Like with how creative, like he's just very strong believer in creative liberty. I think is the most important thing. Like
Well,
he really
yeah.
let everybody like get in on it.
And again, like if these like extended universe novels were all like canon, like it's massively problematic for the Star Wars universe, because like just how powerful some people are for like no reason. Again,
Yeah,
like
like Luke.
yeah. But we talked about it in when we just talked about Loki, episode 2, where we were talking about like how like we were talking about Secret Invasion, and
Hmm.
like that again, like that's another thing where like the production was, you know, it was a major issue, and it led to this finale where like you just have like insanely powerful scrolls for no reason, and it like
Hmm.
calls into question a lot in the MCU. It's like, well, what's gonna happen? Like how like you just have like random characters that are just like the most powerful characters in the whole universe now.
Yeah.
Anyway, next article: Deadpool 3 director on possible Taylor Swift Dazzler role. He says, "I'm no dummy." So, for people who don't know, this isn't anything new. This idea of Taylor Swift playing the X-Men character Dazzler. This
Hmm.
I remember talking about this in like 2015, when Fox still owned X-Men and Apocalypse was going to be coming out and stuff. And there were rumors that Dazzler might appear. And I had spoken with people before, and I had even said, well, if they're going to do Dazzler, Taylor Swift would be a big shout for Dazzler. And
Hmm.
it was rumors other places as well, and other podcasts eventually picked that up too. Not for me, but like, we just had the same idea. It just
Yeah.
makes sense because Dazzler, for people who don't know, she sings, and she's blonde, and Taylor Swift sings and she's blonde. So hey, whoa, connections. Um, but yeah, so Sean Levy, who is the director of Deadpool 3, he's neither confirming nor denying that Taylor Swift will appear in Deadpool 3 as Dazzler, although he's well aware the rumors about her potential casting exist. Levy, who is directing Deadpool 3, I just said that, was recently spotted at a Kansas City Chiefs versus New York Jets football game with Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and Taylor Swift. In a recent interview with The Wrap, Levy was asked if fans should read into this after rumors have circulated online for months suggesting Swift might play Dazzler in the upcoming movie. Levy said that the rumors sure are loud. He said, "I'm going across the board, no comment, because that's a double whammy. That's Taylor
Hmm.
related and it's MCU related. I'm no dummy. You're going to have to wait and see." Levy also recently commented on Swift's directing capabilities to Entertainment Weekly and compared her potential to Steven Spielberg's work.
Okay.
he said Spielberg was on set of a movie he produced that I directed called Real Steel, and I said to him, "How do you know it's the right shot?" His answer
Um.
was, "The way you see it, that makes it right." I feel like that's something Taylor Swift has figured out really well, because that's about trusting your instinct.
I mean, I really like Real Steel, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on this one.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's funny. It's a funny
But also,
comparison.
yeah, compare like when other writers or something like that compare themselves to like other people who are still alive, like it's usually like a red flag. I'm just gonna put that. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Well, he compared Taylor Swift to Steven Spielberg. He didn't compare himself.
No, yeah.
But yeah. Also, on Deadpool 3's release date, it's currently scheduled to release in May 3rd, 2024. However, Levy cast doubt as to whether or not the movie would keep that release date, given that production was halted due to the ongoing Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists strike for better wages, protection against artificial intelligence, and more. He said, "I wish I knew. I don't even know if we officially have a release date. I know we were going to be May 3rd. Certainly the actors strike and the long pause in production have put that release date in true risk. We've shot half the movie. I've edited half the movie. We're dying to get back to work and get this movie out next year." So yeah, maybe it will come out. Maybe it won't. Again, so wait and see.
Do you think the actor strike is ever going to get permanently resolved, or do you think that they're going to just try and blow them off and try and just do whatever they want and maybe get a whole new generation of actors then? I don't know. I don't know at this point.
The
Like I've been
only
hearing
way
some,
to
like,
do that is to literally dissolve the union, because if you don't, like, this is something that I think we've talked about before, but something that's important for people to understand, because I don't think a lot of people really understand this. Hollywood is so tight knit, so there's so much kind of like nepotism and stuff. Like, if an actor were to break this, like, they would never work again.
Yeah.
Like, and this has happened before. We've seen this happen before with like writers, and like before this writer strike, there was a writer strike way long ago, which led to the emergence of reality TV becoming huge, because you don't need writers for reality TV, really. You just need producers. And so you even see it with like Drew Barrymore, who continued her show through the writer strike, and all her writers quit and won't come back.
Yeah.
Right? She'll find other writers, but those writers may be blacklisted then from future things, because they're breaking the the kind of code of the union, right? And so the same thing would happen with actors if they decided to, like, if studios are like, oh, we don't care about any of you, we'll get all these new actors in. I mean, those actors are taking major risks, because like other major Hollywood aspects and entities would blacklist them.
Yeah, that is true.
And hey, trust me, it's well within the realm of belief that studios would go, we can just hire these other actors that are largely unknown, that nobody cares about, and pay them way less and get away with smaller budgets and all this stuff. Of course, studios are going to consider that, but for an actor to do that, because most actors, or almost all actors, are part of the unions, right? Like, they wouldn't. Like, I don't know. I don't see it happening, but I've been wrong about many things, and I might be wrong again.
I'll never forgive Cage. You told me there's no way that the RNC will let Trump be the nominee.
Yeah, I did say that. I absolutely said that,
a lot.
and I was wrong.
You said that a lot.
I was wrong.
And then he became the president of the United States. So.
Yep.
Pretty wild.
Yep. I have said many things that have been wrong, and that's okay, because that's how you learn, and that's, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. It encourages you to learn more. So yeah. Anyway, Patrick Stewart didn't know anything about Marvel's X-Men before playing Professor X. So yeah, this is interesting, I guess. He may now be the actor most commonly associated with Charles Xavier / Professor X, but Patrick Stewart didn't know anything about Marvel's mutants when he originally was in talks to sign on to the first X-Men movie. In his recently published Make It So, a memoir novel via /film, Stewart admitted he knew next to nothing about Professor Xavier when he first learned an X-Men movie was being made. When producer Laura Donner handed him a portrait of Professor X, that was drawn to look like Stewart, the actress simply said, "Who on earth is that, Lauren?" Stewart continued, "This conversation made about as much sense to me as the one I'd had with Steve Dauntonville all those years ago, in which he asked me why Gene Roddenberry wanted to meet me. Charles Xavier, the X-Men, I hadn't a bloody clue what was going on." I did that because I know Chair doesn't appreciate my British accent. I didn't want to annoy him by doing.
I don't appreciate it. I'm just not gonna sit here and defend it. I think is a better way to describe it. I'm not gonna sit here like when you go like, "Wow, isn't this the most amazing British accent you've ever heard?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want you to go down to ye olde London. I want you to go to a pub. I want you to start pretending. I want you to start talking that accent and wait to see how long it takes for someone to punch you in the face." But
They would do no such thing. They
I
would,
think you'd be.
bro. If I was English with an English accent, I run the risk of being stabbed in London. Okay.
Well, I'm more talking getting punched in the face for mocking British, for mocking the English accent, which is like the only
Not
thing they have left
mocking.
to be proud of.
It's endearing.
Whatever you say.
It's flattering.
Got it.
Patrick Stewart initially didn't want to star in X-Men. After Donner explained the character and the concept of Marvel's X-Men, Stewart initially didn't want to star in the movie. He said, "My thoughts at the time, no more fantasy, no more sci-fi, no more telepaths, no more actors zipped into form-fitting costumes. I'm done with all that. Thanks for thinking of me, but no, absolutely not." It was after having lunch with Bryan Singer, who directed a total of 4 X-Men movies before assaulting a bunch of children. Sorry, that wasn't in there. Sorry. Before he was later accused of sexual assault. Oh my god, I didn't even know that was the next line. Sorry. Anyway, when Stewart was convinced to play the role, he portrayed Charles Xavier not only in 2000's X-Men, but also in a number of other films in the franchise, including X2, X-Men The Last Stand, X-Men Days of Future Past, and Logan, as well as uncredited cameos in X-Men Origins Wolverine and 2013's The Wolverine.
Yeah, he was Professor X in
Yeah, Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness.
Strange, and that was pretty cool to see him. I don't know why. There was something cool about seeing him like in an actual Marvel movie that wasn't like one of the weirder X-Men movies. Like, there was certain legitimacy to it. I hope they do that again. I hope that they just reboot the X-Men and Marvel becomes great again, and they start making a bunch of cool mutant shows that are 24 episodes, and then everything will be great and fantastic. That's what definitely is going to happen.
Did you ever watch the show Gifted or The Gifted?
No.
Oh, that show was actually pretty good. And it was about X-Men, obviously, but it wasn't about the X-Men. It was about mostly Polaris, but some other like lesser-known X-Men. And for people who don't know, Polaris is a daughter of Magneto, among obviously Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, being children of Magneto. Anyway, it was a pretty good show. That's all I was gonna say. It features what's his face, who played Bill, Vampire Bill in True Blood. I don't know the actor's name, and Amy Acker. Love Amy Acker.
Yeah.
Anyway, next article. Kevin Feige says we've, quote, barely scratched the surface of the MCU after 32 movies. And this shouldn't shock anybody, but
what does that mean though? Because you're writing it, so
don't worry.
Don't worry. As deep as you want it to be.
Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, told Variety in a recent interview that he believes there's still plenty of untapped potential left to mine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He said, "The great thing about Marvel truly is how many wonderful, interesting characters we have in the comics. They've been at it for 85 years. Even after 32 movies, it feels like we barely scratched the surface." I don't know why I made him sound dumb, but I mean, not dumb. What's the word? Southern?
Slow.
Oh, shit.
No, you made him sound pretty dumb just for now, bro.
Anyway, the MCU began in 2008 with Jon Favreau directed Iron Man. A total of 30 movies set in the same world have been released since then, including 2012's The Avengers. I'm not going to read all these. You guys know all the movies. Additionally, there have been a number of different television series released as part of the MCU. These include various ABC shows such as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, and Inhumans, Netflix's series Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders, and Punisher, and of course, here we go, the list we were looking for earlier: WandaVision, Loki, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. Oh, we hit them all then. Anyway. Okay, among others. What's next for the MCU? I don't think anybody cares about all this. Yeah, we know the Marvel's coming out. Loki Season 2. Echo, yep, blah, blah, blah. Then Deadpool, yep. Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Agatha. This series I don't care about Agatha. Who gives a fuck about it? Anyway,
I mean, Agatha is coming out still, isn't it?
apparently. But that leads us into this next article because, yes, of course, you just barely scratched the surface when Avengers Secret Wars will reportedly serve as a soft reboot for the MCU.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is surprising to anybody because
It's not surprising to me. It seems like the smartest idea, to be honest. Like,
yeah. And it's essentially a soft reboot in comics as well.
Yeah, because
So,
like
of course.
also I don't think that, you know, aside from like maybe the Godzilla films, like the MonsterVerse, it's hard to maintain a really consistent plot and canon and story when you have all these different directors and actors coming in and doing this stuff, you know. At least it's just a really difficult job, and I feel like they're really starting to we're starting to get lost down here in the dark, and they really need to like just bring us back out to light again and set us on a new path. Like that seems to me like the best course of action personally, but
Well, that's what's going to happen. Marvel Studios reportedly plans on using Avengers Secret Wars to reboot the MCU, according to Joanna Robinson, author of the new Marvel book, MCU The Reign of Marvel Studios. Speaking on the Watch podcast to promote the book, Robinson revealed that there is an unused quote from Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, sort of implying that like Secret Wars will serve as a soft reboot in which they can prune everything. There's the word prune. That's a Loki word there. She continued, that's not to... Oh my god, I put my foot in my mouth again. That's not to use a Lokiism. They'll prune everything that's not working and just keep what is working, or bring back people you thought were gone forever. Secret Wars will conclude the multiverse saga. Avengers Secret Wars is intended to be the grand finale of the multiverse saga, which encompasses phases 4, 5, and 6 of the MCU. The upcoming movie will presumably pick up from events of Avengers the Kang Dynasty, while adapting certain elements from Marvel Comics to Secret Wars comic book storylines. That's a lie. It'll probably only take from the 2015 version, if I'm being honest. At the time of writing, no director has signed on to helm Secret Wars, although Sean Levy and Sam Raimi have been rumored to be in the running for the prestigious gig. Joss Whedon directed the first 2 Avengers movies before also all his controversies. They didn't say that, but anyway. Anthony and Joe Russo directed the 2-part Avengers crossover epic Infinity War and Endgame. Shang-Chi director destined Daniel Cretton is currently set to direct the Kang Dynasty, but is not expected at this time to return for Secret Wars. It's going to be in theaters May 7th, 2027. That's a lie. It'll probably be out in 2029. That's just my opinion. Anyway. Again, I don't know why this is surprising. But for anybody who isn't aware of Secret Wars and what it is and what it does, you should be aware that it essentially in comics it has also served as a soft reboot. So.
Yeah, universes collide and everything explodes, and everyone is different, and some people are the same based on what the writers want.
Brewing.
Basically.
All right, so this next article is a bit crazy.
Is it the Storm one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Matthew Vaughn explains why he quit X-Men The Last Stand. So anybody who doesn't know, Matthew Vaughn is a director. He's directed a bunch of shit, including Kingsman, Kick-Ass, among other things. He was supposed to direct... Well, he did direct X-Men First Class. And he recently detailed his experience developing 2006's X-Men The Last Stand before his dismissal. For people who don't know, X-Men The Last Stand is largely regarded as one of the worst comic book movies of all time. One of the worst X-Men movies of all time. That doesn't include X-Men Origins Wolverine, which probably takes the cake, but it's largely regarded as a terrible failure.
Which one?
The Last Stand, X-Men 3.
I didn't watch it.
It's the one with where Jean Grey comes back as Phoenix, and you didn't watch that.
Yeah, the last of that X-Men series I watched is when Magneto picked up the San Francisco Bridge and dropped it on that island, and I think that was the last X-Men movie of that series.
I think that was The Last Stand.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember Phoenix being in it.
Well, it wasn't really Phoenix. It was just, Jean, remember? And she was, going crazy, and then, Wolverine killed her, and he was crying.
Oh. Yeah, I remember. But I guess I did watch the movie.
Anyway.
Yeah, and I guess it didn't make that much of an impact on me.
Yeah.
It was cool to see the Juggernaut running through those walls, though. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was the same movie. Where he attacks, he tries to get to the kid who has the cure inside him for mutants.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I
you saw
say
the movie. Appearing at a panel at the 2023 New York Comic Con to promote his upcoming spy comedy Argyle, Vaughn spoke about the brief period when he was attached to direct the third X-Men installment for Fox after franchise director Bryan Singer passed on it to helm Superman Returns and sorry, that wasn't in there. Allegedly. What made Matthew Vaughn quit X-Men The Last Stand? In leaping from small-scale gangster movies to a studio blockbuster, Vaughn revealed what made him walk away from The Last Stand. It was the revelation that Fox presented a hoax screenplay to Storm actor Halle Berry, featuring a scene of her mutant character saving African children. The intent was to use the fake script to get Berry to sign on to the threequel, which Vaughn found disrespectful to the Oscar winner. Shortly after Vaughn's exit, Rush Hour director Brett Ratner took over the project. Brother? What the fuck? Like, this isn't surprising at all. Like, Fox is, their studio, and most studios are scummy anyway. But, like, bro, holy fuck. Like, good on Matthew Vaughn for, like, having the integrity to walk away. Rush Hour is great, but Brett Ratner was, he couldn't save this movie. Nobody could. Anyway. Released in the summer of 2006, X-Men The Last Stand earned the weakest critical reception of the initial three X-Men movies, despite being the highest grossing entry in the franchise. Vaughn bounced back from the disappointing experience when he earned high praise for his work in 2010's Kick-Ass. The director returned to the X-Men franchise with the highly successful prequel, X-Men First Class, in 2011. Today, Vaughn looks back at The Last Stand as a big lesson in working in Hollywood. He said, the way I produce films was, here's a budget and a schedule, stick to it. And Hollywood doesn't work that way. They go, here's the budget, here's a schedule, we're going to pretend we're going to do it for that, and then we'll make it all up. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that back then, so I was naive to walk out. I was given the speech, you'll never work in this town again, and I sort of believed it. The man who said you'll never work in this town again watched Kick-Ass, and to his credit, he rang me up and said, you know what? I didn't mean when I said that. Okay. Good for you, brother. Good for you. Yeah. I mean, that's just like, again, hey, when we were talking about this just like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The, actors breaking the strike to go back to work, or like new actors coming in and not, and not adhering to the strike. That's the line in Hollywood. Like, people act like, oh my God, people don't say that. They say it all the fucking time. You'll never work here again. You'll never work in Hollywood again.
And sometimes it's like the peers keeping other people out, or sometimes it's like the executives keeping people out.
Yep.
Which is like the one thing I'm wondering about this actor strike, because they were saying like, some of these actors are saying some really mean shit about the producers and executives, like live, like on screen and stuff. So I'm just wondering how that's the reason I wonder how this is going to get resolved. That they're kind of blacklisting each other, because the union does exist not to blacklist people.
Well,
Exist not to let people get blacklisted that are like in the and then also at the same time though, the producers are used to being able to do whatever they want because they have all the money.
I mean, again, well, like, this is something that, like, this is just my personal belief. People can believe what they want. People in Hollywood are mostly all pieces of shit.
Yeah, no, there's a reason. Like George Lucas decided to set up in his backyard instead of going down to Hollywood. There's a specific reason he did that. Like
So all these actors can play
I would,
nice, right, and whatever,
yeah,
and like, oh, we're all in this together. They don't give a shit about each other. All they care about is padding their pockets and whatever. And there's no problem with that. Like, that's their job. Like, they deserve to get paid, whatever. But they don't. They don't. Like, don't be surprised at all.
No, don't retreat from it, because like they don't give a shit, and you can know most of these guys don't give a shit because like they sit around in private jets and then pay lip service to environmentalism, and then there'll be one single
Yeah, bro, they
individual
planted
like
a tree. They're saving the environment. Just like
yeah,
every company who's carbon neutral because they
a
plant
lot
a
of them
bunch of
are just out of
trees.
touch. A lot of them are super out of touch, and like I think very very rarely do they realize that they're out of touch. Like I think the only time I've ever seen like a celebrity realize just how out of touch they are is like when I saw Chris Rock make a joke. Like he was at he was at Burning Man, right? And
Hmm.
there was this video like he got swamped in and he decided to walk out, and he got picked up in a dirt truck, and like he was trying to like play with the crowd or stuff like, oh look at me, I'm Chris Rock, and he was like, he made a joke about a cold brew, and then like nobody laughed, and a couple people actually looked kind of mad, and then like you could see in the camera still pointing at him, he looked kind of down, and then he looked like disappointed in himself for a second, and then like he started to look really sad, and I think That was like the first time that anyone in Hollywood has had a self-aware moment, probably in like 35,
Oh,
when he
where?
realized like just how out of touch some of these people are. Like, most of these people, most people in America right now just can't afford to buy a house. Like, this is not something the
No,
average American can do right now, and that's something they could
bro.
do whenever they feel like it.
Will Smith was out of touch with his whole marriage.
Yeah. Well, not even that. Like, it's just crazy watching his kids get consumed by the Hollywood machine and, act like clowns. And like the reason like a lot of these people act like clowns is so they can keep making money and stay in the know. Like acting out is a good way to be in the spotlight in Hollywood. And it's just
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know. It really is a real shitty, awful place. Like, I don't know why so many people are like addicted to defending it all the time, because it's not a good place full of good people. Like,
Again, people like their sides and whatever, and just like what's going on in the world right now, people want to make it political and pick their sides and whatever. Like, bro, doesn't matter which side you pick. At the end of the day, I don't care what your argument is on either side. People are dying.
yeah,
That's just
yeah.
um.
Started praying again lately in these past couple of weeks, because it's just like, that's all you can really do at this point,
What's
rather than
like
turn on the.
because it like it's not like one of those things where like my wife and I, we never talk about politics or world events really that much,
Hmm.
and like even she's talking about it. I don't know if it's just because she watches TikTok all day,
No, because it's very
but
dramatic. Like, this could escalate very quickly into something that could be truly awful for like the rest of the planet. Like,
well,
it really, really could, like,
yeah.
at
And
any
and
given
again,
second.
this is something I said to her last night. I said I could be completely wrong about this. I
Mm,
don't see us getting involved in terms of like boots on the ground kind of thing, but
yeah.
like we'll definitely give money, and because that's what we do. We supply humanitarian aid and we give billions of
But
dollars.
Israel's just
Billion.
on a different level though. Like, Israel's essentially, in some ways, it's a forward colony of the United States in the Middle East. Like, Israel only exists because we allow it to exist. That's basically how it works. Like, if we pulled out, all of a sudden they wouldn't be able to stand on their own two legs, and they would be crushed by every side. And it's a very difficult, precarious situation. And I just don't think it's going to go anywhere good anytime soon. And more people are going to keep dying. I think that's just all we're going to see.
Yep. Uh, yeah, it's a tough
Yeah.
situation. But anyway, well, I'll finish off my last two articles. These ones are comic book related, but only because they're Star Wars related.
Hmm.
So, Star Wars Timothy Zahn and Jodie Houser adapting Thrawn Alliances for Marvel. So, author Timothy Zahn's 2018 Star Wars novel Thrawn Alliances is getting a comic book adaptation at Marvel Comics. Nobody should actually be surprised by this, but because Heir to the Empire, that whole trilogy was also adapted into comics. So,
Hmm.
um, at New York Comic Con 2023, Lucasfilm Publishing announced that Marvel's adaptation of Thrawn Alliances would launch in January 2024. The comic book series teams Zahn with co-writer Jodie Houser. Houser previously wrote Marvel's 2018 six-issue limited series of Star Wars Thrawn, itself an adaptation of Thrawn's novel from 2017. That's the only one of that new trilogy I've read. I didn't read the other two yet. I'm going to one. But yeah, she has penned several other Star Wars comics for Marvel as well, including the publisher's adaptation of Rogue One. This is something weird to me. Why why do we keep getting comic book adaptations of things we've already watched? Like, why not
It's
just do
just
like
it's the progress of nerddom. It seems like getting the graphic novel is like one of the things you do. It seems like getting a graphic novel is part of merchandising now, almost. That's more where I am at it. Where it seems like getting a graphic novel or like a Shadow Horse run is just something, if you're gonna do it, you can do it because you're guaranteed to make money. Like, because
yeah,
there be no other reason why everyone always does it. Like, whenever someone gets the opportunity to make a comic, they do it. Like, Dungeons and Dragons Critical Role. Like, the minute they got popular, one of the first things they did was start selling the Dark Horse comics,
yeah, but that's those are new original stories, right? Like, why make a comic book adaptation of Rogue One?
because it has art that you could have people sign and sell later, and because people like collectible stuff like that.
It's fair, but
I
you
I,
just
I
have
just
them
think the
sign the
graphic.
cover of your DVD that won't be
I
sold
mean,
anymore.
that
Holy shit, dude!
that
We
is
didn't talk
true.
about that at all. Oh my Jesus, because it's not reported that much in the nerd spectrum, but Like literally, like Best Buy, Walmart,
Yeah.
GameStop, all gonna stop
Oh,
selling
they're all
physical
getting
copies of things.
of DVDs. Yeah.
DVDs.
Then
Well,
the
GameStop
only
is gonna
place
stop
you'll be
selling
able
game physical copies too. I
the
think.
only place you'll be able to get physical copies now is if you order them direct from Amazon. That's it. That's how I get all my DVDs now and like my movie sets and everything.
And people
Like
might be
I
upset or whatever, but this is how industries change. It happened the same thing
yeah.
when
And if you're
when
upset,
VHS
just do
became
what I
DVDs and DVDs became Blu-rays.
And if you're upset, just do what I do, what I'm doing. Like, I'm not in my own house yet. I would prefer to do this if I had my own place, but I'm building a DVD stockpile because I like the idea of just putting a movie in, like, in the DVD player and, like, sleeping, like, falling asleep to it on the couch or something on a weekend, like, while I'm drunk or high or something, It's
Yeah.
just the vibe. I like falling asleep in front of screens and waking up after, like, 30 minutes of knocking off and then going to bed. It's like a really good, it's a really awesome way for me to chill. And so just buy like for me and like the hardest part for me is like there's a lot of old anime that just got added onto Blu-rays and stuff like that, so I'm okay for right now. But there's a couple old shows you can't get on Blu-ray anymore. Like a lot of Adult Swim stuff is really hard to get.
And it will make your collector's editions of things worth some money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bro, you know how many unopened versions of The Force Awakens I have? I got the Steelbook, I got the Walmart exclusive, I got the Best Buy exclusive, I got the collector's edition, the Steelbook, I got everything. I got everything. Anyway, so yeah, what is Thrawn Alliances about? Thrawn Alliances is the second entry in Zahn's first canon Thrawn trilogy, succeeding 2017's Thrawn and preceding 2019's Thrawn Treason. The 2018 novel is set between seasons 3 and 4 of the animated series Star Wars Rebels. In it, Emperor Palpatine sends Grand Admiral Thrawn and Darth Vader on a mission to investigate a potential threat to the Galactic Empire on Batuu. Notably, Thrawn and Vader often competed for the Emperor's favor and openly disagreed on what was best for the Empire. However, the reason Palpatine decided to team the two up was because they had actually worked together before. Thrawn Alliances features a parallel narrative set during the Clone Wars depicting a younger Thrawn's first encounter with Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker. Throughout the events of the novel, Thrawn puts together that Anakin and Vader are indeed one and the same, even though you say this is canon, but it's not canon because he doesn't know that in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
The Grand Admiral first appeared in Zahn's 1991 novel Heir to the Empire, the first entry in the author's original non-canon Thrawn trilogy. Thrawn was ultimately added to modern Star Wars canon via the aforementioned Rebels television series. The character made his live-action debut in the recent Disney Plus series Ahsoka, with Lars Mikkelsen reprising his role in the Rebels. Blah, 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 blah. Cool. More Star Wars comic book news. Mace Windu and Jango Fett are going to get their own miniseries at Marvel next year. At New York Comic Con 2023, Lucasfilm Publishing announced Star Wars Mace Windu, which launches in January 2024 to commemorate the 25th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. The new Marvel limited series comes from writer Mark Bernardin, and features cover art by Matthias Manhanini. Meanwhile, Star Wars Jango Fett launches in 2024, March of that year, The limited series fittingly hails from Ethan Sachs, the writer behind Marvel's Star Wars Bounty Hunters. On that note, Lucasfilm confirmed during NYCC that Bounty Hunters would soon be coming to an end. The new Jango Fett series features covered art by Lionel Francis Yu. Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of Mace Windu. I quite like Jango Fett as well, to be honest, so... Yeah. I'll probably check these out. Like it says, they're limited series, so it'll probably be 5, 6 issue comic books. And I've been wanting to kind of do some comic book reviews here and there, so maybe I'll take the opportunity to do that at the time.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I haven't read comic books in a while, but yeah, I want to start reading more and getting back into it and picking up things that I stopped reading years ago, like Saga. I did start the new Fantastic Four series that launched like 7 or 8, 10 months ago. I don't know, 12 months ago, like a year ago. I don't fucking know. I read like the first issue, but it's a monthly, so there's only like 12 issues. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. But I'm gonna try to read more. But that's all the news, guys. This episode was almost. It's a full episode. I don't know what's going on. Technical difficulties. We spent 35 minutes talking about Loki, and now we spent almost an hour talking about news. So you guys got some bonus content today.
Tons and tons of bonus content.
Yeah, and I'll just release these things at the same time. I don't give a shit. Anyway, that's it. Unless you have anything, unless you have any thoughts or feelings or something.
Um, no, not really. Just, peace, love. Hope everyone has a good day and
Yeah,
hope everyone goes on to have a good, happy, healthy, wholesome life.
yeah. Great sentiment to end it on. Follow, like, subscribe, click buttons, rate, review, do all those things. Goodbye. See you next time. Bye.